Sim, do you have any questions, or you want to share something, or speak about this blandness?
Yeah, okay. Just not like very enjoyable, as in just like whatever I'm doing in my regular life.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like I can do it, but then like there's not much of an enjoyment in those activities.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and there's like no really, really good activity that I can find that I'm like, okay, I can do this and this will bring me fun. It's just,
What
yeah,
what would qualify as a good activity?
something that brings fun, joy.
Yeah. What if
Yeah,
what if there is no activity that's going to bring joy?
that would be sad.
Yeah. What if you're seeking for this activity that's going to bring joy, but you just aren't finding it? And what if this is that blandness that you're continuing looking for joy in an activity? Is it in my scooter rides? Is it in listening to music? Is it going to the movies? Is it hanging out with friends? What if that's seen to be just not the source of your happiness? That the source of your happiness isn't those activities? And what if that's what feels bland or stale or joyless? What if that juice that you're speaking when you're saying, it's just lacking the juice? What if that juice is this happiness, this aliveness? That's sort of what happens. That we've been looking for this happiness in activities, searching for the perfect job or the perfect relationship. And we're looking for something. See, you're trying to extract happiness from the world, but there's no happiness in the world. It's about realizing that you are the happiness. That seeking for yourself externally only creates misery, right? So we just have different, you could say, words, names for the nameless. Might call it happiness, we might call it love, we might call it peace, we might call it freedom, we might call it fulfillment, might call it aliveness, we might call it security, we might call it safety, we might call it stability, we might call it rest. These are all just different names for what you're seeking. But that what you're seeking is all of that. It's not like separate things. It's it's all of what I just said. But trying to find that security in a career or the safety in a home or the love in a relationship or the happiness in a concert or the peace in a bottle of wine, or the freedom in a vacation. It's looking for ourselves in the world. It's looking for ourselves in objective experiences. But all of that, which I just listed off there, the happiness, the love, the peace, the freedom, the fulfillment, the rest, the aliveness, all of that long list, that is actually the subject. That security is not a thing, that the love is not a thing, the happiness is not a thing. So things are objects, things are objective, but that what you're looking for is not a thing. But when we believe to think that it's a thing, we're saying, well, it's this happiness come on, it's in this cup of coffee. It is this cup of coffee. And it's just not true. It's just not true. So it gets to this point of, are you tired of searching? Are you done with playing this game? Or is there still hope that you're going to find what you're looking for in an activity? If that's always the case, then you're always going to believe that it's just, I just haven't hit the right combination of activities. I just need to kind of organize my life a little bit more. I'm not happy because I don't have the perfect girl. I'm not happy because I'm not in the perfect career yet. I just need to work my way up in this company, or I need to get the right job. I don't feel free because I'm living in the city. I need more space around me. Then I can feel free. I'm living with my family. I just need to break free from my family and live on my own. Then I'll feel free. This would then make all of these things, the happiness, the love, the peace, the freedom, conditional. If that was true, then all of what I just said would be conditional. It would be based on life circumstances, and it's not. Happiness isn't dependent on life circumstances. You could be broke, but still completely happy. You could be having some sort of health issue and still be happy. You could live in a box and still feel free. The mind will say otherwise because it has that belief. It has that belief that the happiness, the love, the peace, the freedom is in those things. So the staleness, the tiredness, the exhaustion, the frustration, the misery is just, it's seeing that the belief is false. And we've discussed this, Sim, is like you have an idea of what the happiness looks like. And that idea actually creates unhappiness. Because any idea about happiness would be a condition. Any idea is a limitation. So to have a limited view of happiness, happiness has to look like this and not like this. You're limiting happiness, but happiness is limitless. So it's a game that we play where we put a limit on happiness. And as long as we put the limit on happiness, we don't experience happiness. It's this game where you create the limitation. It seems like some sort of limitation in front of you. You now need to overcome that limitation because on the other side is your happiness. What I'm saying is see that you are creating that limitation and then just don't create it. If you don't create the limitation, there is no limitation. Therefore, the happiness just is. Why are you seeking this like happy activity? Why can't it just be this? Where is their unhappiness right now? If you check, you see that unhappiness is always just a thought. You'll have thoughts of unhappiness, but you won't have thoughts of happiness. In the experience of happiness, there's not thinking of, oh, wow, this is so happy what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. I wish I could create more of this happiness. And there's none of that. There's just happiness. There's just the experience of happiness. But you see that in the experience of unhappiness, there's a lot of thoughts about how things should be different than what they are. And that's really what unhappiness is. Unhappiness is really saying, I don't like this, this being this present moment. I don't like this, and I want something else. Call it unhappiness, call it discontent, call it suffering, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it unhappiness. So you just notice because there's the resistance to what is, they're seeking for something else. If there wasn't any resistance to what is, there wouldn't be any seeking for something else. So what is there the resistance to in this moment? This is a question. What is it?
My head feels tired.
Right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Can you allow the head to feel tired?
not completely.
Mm-hmm. So then just now be aware of that's the resistance. The present moment includes the head feeling tired. No problem, unless you create one. And you are creating the problem because then you're saying, well, my head shouldn't feel tired, and I don't want to feel this sensation right now. So you notice that there's this happening, there's a resistance. Now, this would be no different than if it was raining outside. Because you would just say, well, I don't like the rain. I don't like the rain and I want sunshine. So there would be resistance this moment. It'd be no different to, I don't know, I've got 3 kids upstairs because they're home from school and if they're making a lot of noise, I just want a quiet meeting. I want to be downstairs in the basement where it's quiet so that I can hear the conversation here. I can hear what you are saying. But if there's a part of me that's saying they shouldn't be loud up there, Damn it, those kids. Why are they home? I wish they weren't home. I wish they were back at school. Damn it, if I just wish I had my own space. That's then resistance to the moment, which is then unhappiness. We see as long as, okay, well, there's just the allowance. It's just kids. I can just hear they're walking on the floor and they're walking around upstairs. There's just noise. In that allowance, the resistance is dissolved. Resistance is it's a lot like rejection of the moment. The sensations of the head, it's just part of the moment. But when you're saying, well, I want everything except for the rain and except for the head sensation, you could see it's like you're trying to do a deal. Saying, I want to get rid of this. But this moment can't be divided like that. You can't just like take this piece, trade that back, do a little swap, do an exchange. The moment's whole, it's complete. And actually, when you check, you are this moment. You're not separate from the moment. So when you say there's a head sensation of tiredness, can you see how tiredness is actually a thought? So there's this sensation of the head. Okay. Just like there's perhaps the temperature of the room or the smell of the room, the sounds, what you're seeing. Okay. And then there's the me. There's the me that then says that this sensation is no good. This sensation is no good, and there needs to be a different experience than what is. So instead of focusing on the sensation that seems to be not right, undesirable, needed to be changed, well, let's just see, who is it that has a problem with what is? And then you say me. But can you find that me? Can you find the one that has a problem? Basically, you're saying there's a problem, and the problem is the head, right? The
Yeah.
head feels tired. That's the problem. You're saying, I would be happy if I didn't have this problem. That's basically what you're saying. Yeah. Without this problem, I would be happy. So you're always looking at the problem. So now I want you to look at, who is it that has the problem? So forget about looking to the head as the problem. Forget about looking at the tired head, which you have deemed the problem. Who is it that has that problem? Who is that a problem for? Can we find that one? Can we find the one with the problem? Are you looking?
Yeah.
Can you find the one with the problem? Or do you just find this piece that is here now?
I find thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that claim that I am the one who has the problem,
Mm-hmm.
but then like they feel real.
Mm-hmm.
They they feel like they are pointing to a real person. And
Mm-hmm. So there's
like
the problem is basically a thought, and the one that has the problem is a thought. That's your direct experience, right? The
yeah,
problem about the head being tired, that was a thought. So I said that was a thought. And then I said, okay, well now look for the one with the problem. And you're saying, well, that's also a thought. You said these thoughts are just pointing to a person. Are they pointing to the person, or are they what you take to be the person? If they're pointing to the person, then I want you to follow these thoughts back to the person. Where do these thoughts lead you when you follow them?
they say that they are the person. They say I have a problem. So they seem like the voice of the person, like it's coming from somewhere. But like I don't know where they are coming from. They just pop up. uh, And so I don't know if they are really coming from a person, but they say I have a problem.
Okay. Can a thought have a problem? Because you're saying, well, a person can have a problem, but now you're seeing that this person is actually a thought. Can a thought have a problem?
It's not that clear that the person is fake or a thought. It just feels like I'm hearing a real person. When I watch the thought, it feels like a real person is saying, I have a problem. So
Okay.
it doesn't feel like it's a fake, made up, just, voice coming from nowhere. It
No
feels
problem.
like a real person is saying, I have a problem. Me, this person has a problem.
Right. So you're saying you said that you are seeing the thought appear to be a person. Yeah.
Yeah,
And who's this person?
I don't know.
It's got to be somebody, isn't it? If it was just a nobody, then it wouldn't be any problem. But who is this person? This thought is appearing to be a person. Now I'm just saying, well, who's that person? John Smith? Who? Like, who is it?
Sim the Seeker.
Yeah, you know, Sim the Seeker. Sim the Seeker. The person is appearing to be me. You are taking yourself to be that person, but you're seeing that that person is actually just a thought. It's the thought that's appearing to be the person, and that person is what you are identifying yourself with and saying, that's me. But I'm saying, well, just your liberation, the freedom is right in your sentence. I am seeing the thought to be me. There's an I and there's a me. Which one are you? I see the thought to be me. There's not two of you. This me that you believe to be is a thought. The I that you are is what is experiencing that thought. That thought is always changing. The thought is ever changing. But the I that's experiencing that thought is never changing. That I is what's watching it. It's observing it. It's experiencing it. It's aware of it. Choose whatever word you like. You're saying it in the sentence. You're saying, I'm watching. Yeah, I am watching the thoughts point towards a person. I said, okay, keep watching the thoughts. Follow those thoughts. Keep watching them and follow those thoughts back to the person. If they're pointing to the person, then let's follow it back to the person. So you follow these thoughts back and you can't find the person. So I said, well, keep watching. Is it the thoughts that are appearing to be the person? And you said, yes. The thoughts appear to be the person, but they also feel real. And I said, well, who's the person that the thoughts are appearing to be? Is it just anyone? And he said, well, no, they're appearing to be Sim, the me that I believe to be. They're appearing to be who I think I am. That's why it feels so real. And I said, well, okay, just look at that. You said there's the I that is watching this thought appearing to be a person. Why it feels so real is this thought says that it's I. It's an I thought. Your whole story revolves around one single thought, and that thought is I. I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I had a shower, I made some coffee, I sat down, I turned on my computer, and I'm talking to my friends. I. This whole story revolves around I. Yet there's, at the same time, there is an impersonal experiencing of this body do said activities. That right now there's this conversation between one body and another body, and it appears like there's some sort of exploration happening here. But there's an impersonal experiencing that's present, that's experiencing this moment. Now, that impersonal experiencing is ever present. And it doesn't announce itself as I. The thought is what kind of arises, puts up his hand, says, I, me, Sim, I. But in that arising of that thought and in that kind of sound, that mental voice that says me, Sim, there's also a silence that's hearing that mental voice and that mental narration. There's also a silent experiencing. There's also that which is not moving. It doesn't arise. This I thought is a phenomena. It arises It's coming, it's going. It's never ever present. That I thought wasn't present during sleep. That I thought's not present constantly throughout the day. There's big gaps actually when you look. That I thought is not present. But the experiencing is ever present because the experiencing is what's actually experiencing those gaps. Meaning there's an experiencing of there being no sim. There's the experiencing of sim appearing and sim disappearing. And it's obvious that you are experiencing. So you are that which is not appearing and disappearing. You are ever present. But this I thought that seems to be real, it feels real. It only feels real because there's the belief in it being you. But with this clarity that you're able to see it appear and disappear. When you're able to see it come and go. And it's you that's confirming that. Because you're saying, well, this thought is appearing as a person. So this thought-based person is appearing to me. So I'm saying, okay, enough with the person. That's the thought. I want to know about you, the real you, that which is experiencing this thought-based person. It's appearing to you, but are you appearing? That which is seeing the appearance. You said that the thought is appearing as a person. The person is appearing. The person's name is Sim. It appears to be real. That's what you said. I want to know just one thing. You, that which is seeing the appearance, are you appearing? Yes or no?
No.
No. So the true you is not appearing. All appearances is an activity. All activity is a phenomena. This I that you take yourself to be is a phenomenal experience. It's happening. Phenomena means like it's a happening. Now, the real you is non-phenomenal. It's not happening. There's a big investment in this me that you believe to be. Something's always happening to you. Something's not right. There's injustice. It's not fair. There's a problem happening to this me that I believe to be. Life is happening to me. But see that the real you, nothing's happening to you. That which is seeing the appearance is checked to see, is anything happening to you? Anything?
No.
No. Are you sure? What about the wind? Dust? You getting wet in any way? Is it maybe a little too hot? Do you want the temperature turned down? How about now? Are you uncomfortable? Would you like a blanket to be more comfortable? Or do all of these things that I'm saying, they just don't apply to you? Yes or no? Do they apply to you or they don't apply to you?
They don't.
They don't apply to you. Exactly. Now, why don't they apply to you?
There's no space,
There's no space. Yeah. What else?
so no physical phenomena
Mm-hmm.
is relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can make something more comfortable, but you aren't something. You are no thing. Only something can get wet. You are no thing. No thing can't get wet. Something can be too hot. You are no thing. You see that what I just said, I'm saying it to to show you the just to show you that it's all of what I just said just doesn't apply to you. And you just confirmed it. You confirm that nothing is happening to you. So if nothing's happening to you, is there any problem for you? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yes, what? What's the answer?
there is problem.
There is a problem. You're saying?
Yeah, the
Who's the problem
problem is
for?
that
Who's the problem for?
the
Is the problem for you or for the me that I believe to be?
the problem is I don't
No, no,
live
no, no. Hold on.
as
Sorry. Is the problem for you or is the problem for the me that I believe to be?
the me that I believe to be.
Okay. The apparent me, the illusory me, the imaginary me. Is this the me that we're talking about?
Sort of apparent, but I still
Me,
believe it
sort
to be
of.
real because I still believe it to be real
Say it one more time. You still believe it?
because I still believe it to be real.
Real, real. Okay, yeah. Yeah. But does it change the fact that it's appearing? It's still appearing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But now I want you to check again with you, that which nothing is happening to. Just check with yourself here. Just make sure that something doesn't happen to you. Now, when you're checking with yourself, are you believing at all? Is it a question of belief?
no,
No. But it's real though, right? That which you are checking is very real.
yeah,
Are you sure? Maybe you're imagining. Could you be imagining?
no,
No. So what were you saying? There's another me other than that is appearing, and it has a little bit of a voice, sort of say, that's saying me. But it's coming, it's going, it's always changing. This me is always different. Who you think you were at 10 years old is very different than who you think you are now. The problems that you had at 10 years old is very different than the problem that you have right now. But that which has been experiencing the 10-year-old body and the 25-year-old body, however old the body is, it's ageless. That which is experiencing the aging body is actually ageless. That's what feels like it hasn't been getting older. When we have these birthdays, they're just like, yeah, just another, here is another birthday, but there's something in you that you're intuiting that feels like it it's not getting older. There's something in you that you're intuiting that is always the same, that it's unchanging. People gather around, they put a nice candle on the cake. It might say 25, it might say 26, it might say 30, it might say 40, but there's something that just feels like it's not aging at all. That's the real you. That's the you that you just checked. The you that's timeless. So you see this thought, which is appearing to be a person, and this person has a name, Sim. And there's an identification with this thought. But that impersonal experiencing that is silent and still and never changing, timeless, that which you just checked, check again. Check again with the you that nothing is happening to. Check with you the you that's ever present. And you're saying this is real. This is not appearing. Imagination is that which appears, but this is not appearing. So you can't be imagining it. Imagination is a phenomenal activity, but this is not an activity. Nothing's happening. It can't be an imagination. And this doesn't need to be believed in. See, on one hand, you're saying, I believe to be this thought that appears to be a person. I believe to be Sim. On the other hand, you're saying, well, the real me, I don't need to believe in the real me. On one hand, we have a thought that has many identities: a student, a son, a boyfriend, a worker, the list goes on. The real you has no identity. This thought is changing, it's appearing, it's disappearing. There's actually long durations where it's not present. And now you're seeing every time you check with yourself, that which is never changing, that which is not appearing and disappearing, that which is timeless, that which is spaceless, that which is formless, that which is non-phenomenal. Every time you check with yourself, you're not experiencing the me that I believe to be. Did you notice that? That every time you're aware of your true self, this false self is nowhere to be found. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it vanishes.
It sort of never like vanishes for me. It's the thought still arises, those me thoughts, but they sort of start feeling fake. Like they don't have any weightage anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like they point to a person, but then like you are really established as the awareness, it
Mm-hmm.
just feels like which person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And when I am not there, when I'm like more at thought identified, immediately it's just they point to a person and it's like, okay, there is a person.
Yeah. So when you're resting as yourself, are there any problems?
Now,
No. Now, what was the obstacle to your happiness? Wasn't there just a problem? That was the only thing? You said that you would be happy if there wasn't this problem, right? We're just coming full circle. You said there's unhappiness in this moment because of this problem. And you describe this problem as a pain in your head. And every time I had you check with yourself, you never mentioned a pain in your head. You never mention any tiredness in your head. You never once brought up that problem. And I'm showing you is because that problem is imaginary. Just like the unhappiness. It's imaginary. On one side, there's a problem that you are suffering. But it's actually like I don't know what you want to say. It's like a trifecta. There's three: the problem, the suffering, and the me that you believe to be, they're one. The you that you believe to be is suffering. The you that you believe to be is the problem. But checking with your true self, checking with what you truly are. There's no problem, there's no suffering. There's no identification with this me that I believe to be. There's no belief. The suffering vanished. The problem vanished. The you that you believe to be vanished. And what is it that remained? It's a question for you. What is it that remained? When the problem vanished, when the suffering vanished, when the you that you believe to be vanished, when sin vanished, when suffering vanished, when the problems vanished, what remained?
Peace.
How do you know that there was just peace that remained? If you sim vanished, how do you know that there is peace? Sim vanished. So
I
how
was there.
sim vanished? So how does sim know about peace remaining
Sim
when sim
doesn't
vanished?
Sim doesn't know about peace.
Say it again.
Sim doesn't know about peace.
Okay, but you're saying that when sim vanished, there was peace that remained.
Yeah.
So how can you report this
I
if you?
was there.
Yeah, but you said you disappeared.
Sim disappeared.
Yeah,
I was there.
you sure you're not sim?
I am.
You want?
Not I am Sim, but like when Sim disappears, then I am not. Then I realize I am not Sim
Okay.
anymore. Like I realize I never was Sim, but
Mhm.
like when Sim's around, it feels like I am Sim.
Mm. It also feels like there's a lot of problems and a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes as a package, like person plus problems.
In a way, the
Family
person is the
saver pack.
problem, right? The person is a problem if all you know yourself to be is the person. Coming to realize that you are not the person, that what you actually are is the peace. You're the peace that's beyond the person. You're the peace that's prior to the person. Resting as that peace. There's just peace. There's no problems. So when there's the peace that remained, see that you are reporting about that peace. but you aren't separate from that peace. That's what I'm saying, that you are the peace. The peace is your true nature. All I had you do is just basically follow those thoughts back to their source, which is you. And then I just said, well, just explore this, explore yourself. You're telling me how you're not appearing, you're not disappearing, you're not coming, you're not going, nothing's happening to you. You can't be wet, you can't be touched, you can't be hurt. You're not aging, you're not bound to time, you're not in space, you're not suffering. You're very much real. It doesn't need to be believed in. You're telling me that you're without identities. That which you are doesn't stand up and announce itself and say, I am this, I am that. It's not changing. It's always the same experience of yourself. And then I just said, well, notice that when you're experiencing yourself, who you think you are isn't even present. And who you think you are is synonymous with those problems and the suffering. So by just experiencing yourself, you're experiencing the peace that you are seeking. Because the end of the problem, that which you've deemed, there's just everything would be good if it wasn't just for this tiredness in my head. If I could just solve this problem, then I would be at peace. That's the story of your life. If I could just fix this problem, then I'll be happy. But you actually see that you found what you're looking for. It's not really a true finding because it would imply that something's lost. So that's why I say it's a discovering. You're uncovering without cover. You're seeing that you are the peace because there's no conflict. The problem is always about conflict. There's no problem, no conflict. That you are happiness. Happiness is the absence of suffering. You didn't mention any suffering. Notice how you didn't mention any problems or suffering when you were sharing yourself. You weren't reporting back and saying, yeah, nothing's happening to me except for this problem in my head. You weren't saying, yeah, I don't appear in time and space except for all of this suffering that I'm experiencing. You didn't mention any of that. So, like I always say, you are the peace that you're looking for. You are the happiness that you are seeking. Now see that peace that you're experiencing, that happiness that you're experiencing, See that no one gave you that peace. No one gave you that happiness. See that it just is. Where were you experiencing that happiness and peace? It was here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't travel. You're in Australia. You didn't travel to where I am in Canada to experience that peace and happiness. You didn't have to go on some retreat in India to experience that peace and happiness. You experience it here. When did you experience it? You experienced it right now. That peace, that happiness is ever present. And it's unconditional. You didn't just become richer by me adding money to your bank account to then make you feel this happiness. Nothing happened to that room or your home or your apartment to make you feel the peace. So it had nothing to do with your life circumstances. It's independent of everything because it's not a thing. That peace is not a thing. That happiness is not a thing. It wasn't changing when you're experiencing that happiness. It's not like you're experiencing that happiness change. It's not coming and going. It's what you are. So it's just by realizing the truth of what you are, just by experiencing the truth of what you are. This this lie just is just let go of. It's just dropped. Not even let go of. It just dissolves. Is there any questions of what you discovered?
No.
Any doubt?
No doubt.
No doubt? No. Okay.